Hello, I'm Shelley Swanlund, Vice President, Business Banking at CIBC. And I'm joined today with Trevor Gough, Managing Director and Head of Mid-Market Investment Bank at CIBC. And he's here to talk about how you move to that final stage of business ownership, transitioning your business successfully. So Trevor, thank you for joining us. Business owners often have a lot of their personal wealth tied up in their business. It's certainly been their lifeblood and they're passionate about it. So while they hit a point where it's critical for them to unlock the value of their business by transitioning it either to a third party or passing it down to the next generation, some aren't looking to retire yet, but want to take some money off the table. So when you think about some of the clients that you've dealt with, what are the options for them looking to stay involved but yet extract some of the value?
Yeah, it's an increasingly common conversation that we're having. If I look at the last few years, probably half the transactions are on this particular scenario. And it really is a scenario where owners are in their 50s. They've built up a lot of wealth now in the company. There's increasing risk in that, of protecting that. They don't want to retire. They don't want to sell the business completely and get out. Right. But they like to stay on but take some wealth off the table. There's a couple of ways that you can do that. The first is just to raise some debt. If there is a debt capacity within the business, that there are surplus cash flows, there is asset coverage in the business, the company can borrow money from a bank, and then that money is then extracted in a tax efficient way, typically as a dividend, and then the owner continues to own the company but has extracted some value out of the company. The other way is to actually raise equity. This would involve selling a stake in the company. Typically it's a majority stake, but it's to a private equity group. Okay. There are many private equity groups, both here in Canada and in the US, and increasingly the US private equity groups are coming up to Canada looking for Canadian companies to invest in. So there are many of these groups out there with a lot of capital looking to invest in private companies. So it's a conversation that we're increasingly having. These private equity groups, their interest in the particular company will depend on the size of the business, the geography, but also the business sector that it's in. But private equity groups, all of them, they really want to invest in good quality, well-run, excellent management teams with very good growth prospects in that particular sector.
So if I'm a business owner and that's one of the options I would want to consider, don't want to take the company into debt, but perhaps look at a private equity, how do you find people like that in the marketplace? You talked about some coming up from the US, certainly within Canada. What does a business owner look for when they're looking for somebody that might make that kind of investment in the company?
Yeah, as I say, there are many of them. We get approached by a lot of private equity groups because they know that through the bank that we have a lot of clients that are looking for these kind of solutions. Many of these groups just approach the companies direct, suppose the owners direct. They don't wait to be introduced to a business. Some of them are very sector driven, so they've identified certain sectors within the economy that is something that they're very interested in, and they want to meet all the companies in that particular sector, and they become very knowledgeable about that. Because one of the benefits, as well as taking money off the table, we find that owners, this gives them a chance to really partner with very smart business people who have an expertise at growing businesses. And it's a way to partner with someone who has capital, has experience, and can really take the company to another level without it all being the risk of the owner. And they have probably more chance of success of actually growing the business that way.
So business owners can kind of have their cake and eat it too if they actually look at their options.
Absolutely. It does not have to only keep the business or sell 100% of the business.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Trevor. Appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you.
Trevor Gough, Managing Director and Head of Mid-Market Investment Bank at CIBC.